After a fallout with my closest friends, the kind that leaves you blinking at the ceiling wondering if you're the villain or just collateral damage, I knew it was time to leave Fresno. Again, I come back hoping to tie a neat bow on old messes, slap some closure on wounds that never really healed. And while I managed a few stitches, I also tore open new ones like a raccoon in a garbage bag. Oregon called. I needed trees, I needed clouds, I needed a version of myself that didn't feel like wet laundry clinging to the wrong skin. I couldn't afford to fly up for roommate interviews, and Craigslist felt like a murder waiting to happen. So I turned to Adam for Adam, back when desperation, queerness, and dial-up era websites collided. That's where I met Ben. He was an oceanless surfer energy, chill in a way that didn't feel performative. I told him the deal. I was broke, a little broken, and hoping for a new chapter. He said, "What if I just come meet you?" And he did. Amtrak and all. Got a cheap hotel and asked me to bring some friends over so he could get a read on me through them. Not in a weird way. He wasn't older, creepy, or calculating. Just someone who believed the people you laugh with say more than any resume ever could. So I brought Amma and Britt, two sisters from work who were equal parts chaos and comedy, plus Ashley and Rudy. We got stoned, passed around drinks and stories. Amma declared me her gay husband. Britt grilled Ben like he was applying to join the family. Rudy did his bashful little two-step every time he laughed, and Ashley, soft-voiced and observant, caught it all like a sponge. Ben saw what I needed him to see. I was real and I was loved. He offered me a room in his trailer on Jansen Beach. Moving date, May. Jansen Beach wasn't Portland proper. It was a weird little floating limb between Oregon and Washington. Half hotels, half trailer parks, plus a sad mall that looked like capitalism had given up halfway through construction. But it was green and quiet and not Fresno. I called Louise almost every day like a homesick 8th grader. My old roommate Emilio came to crash for 2 weeks before his big cross-country walk. His plan was to walk the flattest parts of the U.S., which landed him in the Dakotas. Only Emilio could romanticize corn. Adam, our other roommate, hated me. He didn't say it, but I could feel it in the way he closed doors and existed. I was too much for him, too loud, too queer, too whatever. Emilio and I stayed up watching Earthworm Jim, laughing like gremlins on mushrooms. Adam just sulked, sighed, fumed like a sad radiator. Jessica came to visit just as Emilio was heading out. She'd known both of us from Fresno, but this was the first time they'd really gotten to hang out. She arrived with a guitar, a cracked open heart, and a voice that turned smoke into song. She didn't move in, just stayed for a few days. It felt like a little pocket of magic. Ben and Adam liked her more than they liked me. And honestly, fair. She had that rare kind of presence that makes you believe in constellations even in a cloudy sky. Those nights, guitar strings, laughter, firelight licking the edges of our stories are sealed in amber. Jessica passed a decade later, and I still hold those memories like they're rosary beads. Little sacred things I rub between my fingers when the world gets too sharp. Somewhere in all that, I got a job at the Big and Tall store in the island's sad little mall. It was just a parking lot away from home. The job was duller than an unbuttered saltine, but it paid rent. None of us working there could fit into the clothes we sold. One customer handed us a bag of fast food hamburgers and said, "If y'all are gonna work here, you better bulk up." We laughed, because what else can you do? And then the trailer started to sour. Adam's resentment thickened into something moldy. And Ben, sweet, measured, conflict-avoidant Ben, finally pulled me aside. "Hey man," he said gently, "I think it's just not the best energy anymore." I nodded. I'd always known I was more incense fire than mellow candle. Too much for rooms that wanted quiet, too bright for spaces built on dimmers. They asked me to leave, and I did. I found a house in North Portland, just a 19-minute bus ride from work. That's where I met Lewis. We were roommates first, then something else. Something jagged and confusing and a little bit like licking a battery. He had that greasy charm some people mistake for charisma, but it wore off fast. He made cruel jokes, especially one about a friend's disabled baby that still makes me shake with rage. He was toxic, and I didn't yet know how to leave things that hurt. He eventually tricked me into moving out just 3 months after moving in. If only I knew my rights, but I was young and honestly happy to rid myself of his skeezy personality. And right around then, maybe a week before I moved out, the store accused me of stealing $20. Loss prevention came in like we were shooting a pilot for Law and Order Mall Crimes Unit. Said they had video footage, and actually they didn't. It turned out I just flubbed the nightly paperwork. Some basic numerical goof, but it triggered a discrepancy. They cleared me and said I could come back. I said no, because even when you're innocent, shame has a way of soaking into your bones. I tried to find new work. I was 21, poor, full of panic and debt and guilt. The recession had hit and jobs were vanishing like fog. I got desperate. The only thing I knew would had paid before, was sex work. So I went back to it, not with fanfare, not with some empowered sense of agency, just survival. I kept tried lying on my resume, tried calling in favors, but rejection after rejection kept stacking like bad Jenga. I sank deeper. 7 years would pass before I found my way back to a steady paycheck. But those first 6 months back in Portland, that island, that trailer, that awful job, that messy house, They rerouted me. Without them, I wouldn't have met Kate, wouldn't have moved to Alaska, wouldn't have met Lupita Nyong'o, the cat-sized soulmate who still sleeps pressed to my chest like she owns the rhythm of my heartbeat. I wouldn't change a thing, not the stupid trailer, not the sleazy roommate, not the $20 accusation, or the job that never fit. Because even the messiest chapters stitch something permanent into you. Sometimes the storm is the compass. And sometimes your weirdest detours are what leads you home.